So I've been thinking about this phrase lately. I've been using it a lot, effectively. And it's one of those stupid, simple phrases, but I found myself when emotions are high, maybe you're in an argument, maybe things are just tense, um, either reminding myself or asking the other person, remind the other person to say what you actually mean, right? Because so often we don't say what we actually mean. And it kind of gets into the whole spirit of getting to the first principles, getting to the root of it, right? Getting to the end of the thread, what actually is going on. Because there's so much above the surface that could throw us off and make us think something else. Let me give you an example. So this morning, I was getting my son ready for school, and he has a social studies test today that he's been studying for, over the last few days. And as he was getting ready and we were waiting for the bus, I decided to give him one more quiz and kind of run him through it. And we got to a word and he was like, I don't know that word. I don't know what that is. And between the stress of just a normal morning routine and just other things going on and stuff that had to happen today and him, for the test and all that, I found myself getting angry. I got angry, and my instant reaction was to say something like, well, I guess you didn't really study then, right? Like, you told me you were prepped and you were studied and ready for this. I guess that wasn't true. I guess now we have to really focus on this. And I probably didn't even say it that nicely. Not that that was nice. And obviously he got upset and I'm sorry, I thought I did. And I reminded myself as this was happening, hey, say what you mean. In this instance, what I really mean to say is hey, bud, you're my son. I care a lot about you. School's important. I want you to do well in school. It's important that you have good study habits. I want to make sure you're well prepared for this test. So we need to figure out how come you don't know this word, and really express more often than not when you say what you mean. It's usually truly something from a place of love or compassion or grace or generosity, something, right? It's a positive thing. But so often we don't actually say that positive thing. We say the negative version of it. We spit out the frustrated, angered version, which is, you let me down. Why didn't you study more? Rather than, hey, I love you and I care about you and I want to make sure you do well. And this happens all the time. You'll catch yourself doing this. I do it all the time. I've had interactions with family members where I've seen it, where somebody will say something almost nasty. And you say, hey, I think what you really mean to say is, I love you and I care about you and I'm worried about you, or I'm afraid of this thing. That's the one that I see come up the most, right? Fear. We know the power that fear has. How often fear is actually verbalized as anger or frustration. And when you look at fear, it's really just love underneath that, right? It's something that you care about that person, which generates the fear, which then generates the anger. So that's those levels to it, that you're trying to get to that root level of what you actually mean. So think about that next time you find yourself in a situation, you're in an argument, things are getting tense, you feel yourself losing, maybe control a little bit, your anger is getting out of there. What do you actually mean? Say what you actually mean, and you will be shocked. It sounds corny, it sounds cheesy, it sounds too simple, and I get it. It probably is all those things, but if it works, who cares? You will be shocked at how disarming it is for yourself and for the other person when you actually do say what you mean, or you play back to them what you think they actually mean, because it will more likely than not strike a chord where they'll say, oh yeah, that is actually what I mean. That is actually what I want to say. And then the conversation becomes 1,000 times more productive.